Hi folks, it's so fantastic to join you all here today. Thank you very much to the faculty. I'm sincerely honoured to be part of your day, your landmark day of graduating, but also to be honoured here myself. It means a huge amount to me. And Peter very generously invited you to thank the faculty. But I'm seeing this wonderful array of students, and behind you is an extraordinary group of people who have supported you for years, since you were tiny babies in arms. So I'm going to invite you, students, to thank your friends around you, but also your family and friends who've joined us here today. Let's hear it for your families. Very much deserved. So, as you set out, here you go, launching off onto this sea into the world. Where's the journey going to take you? We all need a compass on a journey, and I want to offer you a compass that I think can help guide us through the 21st century. Is this going to work with me? No, my compass doesn't want to come up. Oh, it's going backwards now. This is a very Swiss machine. Let's see. No, it's not there. No compass. Okay, I'm going to tell you about it. I'm going to drop the slides. I'm going to talk. I'm going to offer you a compass for the 21st century, and it's a donut. And by the way, this is a health warning. You don't actually need to go out and eat donuts. Please don't eat donuts. I don't want to add to the global health crisis here, okay? I'm just recommending to you the one donut that might actually turn out to be good for us. So you saw me holding a little bread roll there. Imagine a big donut, the kind with a hole in the middle. So in that hole is a place where people are falling short on life's essentials, be it food, water, healthcare, housing. And we want everybody in the world to have access to all those essentials so that every person can lead a life of dignity and opportunity and community. So get everybody out of that hole in the middle. But we can't go over the outer crust of the donut, because out there we start to put so much pressure on this extraordinary living planet that we begin to kick it out of kilter. We cause climate change, ocean acidification, a hole in the ozone layer, biodiversity loss. So we have a challenge. And a challenge that no generation before us actually even saw, which is to get everybody out of that hole in the middle, but stay within the outer crust, be in that donut itself, where we meet the needs of all within the means of this planet. Well, if that's a compass for the 21st century, where are we today? Right now, we're far out on both sides because many millions of people worldwide cannot meet their most basic needs. We know that. Many people live in abject poverty. And yet, we've already burst over at least 4 of the planetary boundaries that we must take care of on climate change, on excessive fertilizer use, land conversion, on biodiversity loss. So to me, the 21st century compass and the journey is something about coming into balance. It's a new shape of progress. Not always growth, 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 which was the very dependent mantra of the 20th century, but balance. So imagine if every business in the world drew up its strategy around a table with this donut on it and asked itself, how can we ensure that our core business practice helps to bring humanity into this space rather than push us out? Well, I've shown this picture of the donut to hundreds of companies over the last 5 years, and I've been fascinated by the very, very different responses I've heard. So let me tell you them in 5. The first response is the oldest. Do nothing. The business of business is business. Everything we're doing is nearly legal. And, we're not going to change until the regulators come along. Well, I know that's not what you're taught here at BSL, right? But there's a lot of businesses out there in the world that still think that's good enough, and we know it's not. Next step, well, we'll do what pays. If it pays to cut our carbon emissions, because that's where we'll save costs, if it pays to get green branding because we'll get a niche consumer market, we'll do it. Very incremental, very short term. That's not going to get us there. Next level up, the third response. We'll do our fair share. If everybody else chips in, we will too. It's the beginnings of progress, but as anybody knows who's taken a group of friends out to dinner and everyone's put in what they think is their fair share of the bill, and you're the one at the end adding it up, it never quite adds up, which is the problem with fair share approach. And we're all waiting for somebody else to be the first leader. So do nothing. Do what pays. Do your fair share. We've got to go higher. The fourth level is do mission zero. We'll emit 0 carbon emissions. We'll have no social violations in our supply chains. It's ambitious, but why stop there? If you can do no harm, why not break through that ceiling of imagination and do good? Go to the fifth level, which is to be generous, be generative by design, and generate value that contributes back to society and back to the living world. That is, I think, the space for 21st century business. And there's so many examples, I'm sure that you've studied some of them here, that are showing us this is possible with a fair return for business, but also a generous return to the community and the living world. But what is it that allows a business to move from that very low level, do nothing, do what pays, up to generous design? That's what fascinates me. And I think this century we're going to see something of a face-off between two very different mindsets in business. The old mindset, which I think drove 20th century business, says, it always asks this one question: how much value can I extract from this? How much value can I create and extract? But there's a 21st century mindset, which I know you're taught here, which I see in the eyes and excitement of 21st century businesses, enterprise designers, social entrepreneurs, urban designers, creators, who say, how many benefits can I layer into the way I design this, so that I'm actually giving something back to the community and back to the living world? How can I run a farm in a way that doesn't release carbon dioxide, but actually sequesters it in the soil? How can I set up an enterprise that doesn't merely pay people a living wage, but actually regenerates the community, creates trust, and creates a thriving local network of businesses? And I think at the heart of those different views, how can I extract value, and how can I layer in benefits so I can give something away? Underlying that is a question of how business is designed, the DNA of an enterprise itself. How it's purposed. You've got a donut on the wall. How it's purposed. Here we go, let me show you. Oh. So there's extractive enterprise. How much value can I capture and extract? Versus how many benefits can we layer in so we can actually let some go and give something back? And I think the difference between those two lies in how a business is purposed. Does it have a financial purpose to maximize shareholder returns, or a living purpose? How is that business owned? Is it owned by shareholders on the stock market? Is it owned by its employees, by patient capital, by impact investors, by aligned investors? And how, therefore, is it financed? By those seeking a short-term maximum return now, or a long-term return that's aligned with your values? To me, this is going to be the psychological drama of 21st century business. And that means you're going to have to take a position. And so as you step out into the world of entrepreneurship, whether you join a business or create one, I think you can always ask yourself a question. If I'm joining business or creating it, what kind of values underpin its DNA? Does its purpose allow me to bring my full self to work and my full set of values? Is it financed and owned in a way that I can actually put into practice all of the values that I believe are needed to make the 21st century thrive? Because I genuinely believe if we are stuck with last century's extractive finance driving our businesses, we will never meet the needs of all within the means of the planet. And yet there's the most incredible array and diversity of new business models emerging and new finance that's coming through to back it. So as you go forward, I strongly hope that you have the vision, the creativity, and the determination to put purpose, your living purpose, at the heart of what you do in your work, and to ensure that the work you do and the business you do puts meeting the needs of all and getting into that donut at the heart of your work. Thank you very much.